New Orleans, April 2nd, 2023. The final seconds of the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship are ticking away, and LSU is about to beat Iowa by 17 points. Caitlin Clark, the most electrifying scorer in college basketball history, stands on the court watching it all fall apart. Then Angel Reese, LSU's forward, walks toward her, raises her hand to her forehead in the John Cena "you can't see me" gesture, and points directly to her ring finger. The message is unmistakable. I'm about to win a ring, and you can't stop me. The arena erupts. Cameras catch Clark's face in that moment, and within hours, the internet explodes. Not about the game, but about Reese, about the gesture, about what it meant and who was allowed to mean it. That moment, 10 seconds in a basketball game, became the most debated moment in women's sports history. And what it revealed wasn't just about two athletes. It was about America, about race, and about a league that was about to change forever. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. This channel covers the stories behind women's sports that most people get wrong, and I don't want you to miss what's coming. Let me give you the context that makes all of this make sense. Caitlin Clark grew up in West Des Moines, Iowa, the kind of small-town kid who shot hoops in the driveway until her parents called her in for dinner, then snuck back out to shoot more. She enrolled at the University of Iowa and, across 4 seasons, did something no one had done in over 50 years. She broke Pistol Pete Maravich's all-time NCAA scoring record. Not the women's record, the record. 3,685 points, and she did it with a style that made people stop scrolling. Long threes from the logo. No-look passes behind her back at full speed. A crowd magnetism that turned sold-out arenas into events. Iowa's games were getting television ratings that rivaled men's programs. By the time the 2023 NCAA tournament arrived, Clark had become the most watched player in college basketball, men's or women's. Angel Reese came to LSU from the University of Maryland, recruited by head coach Kim Mulkey with one mission: win a national championship. Mulkey had rebuilt LSU into a powerhouse, and Reese was her weapon. At 6'1", Reese was a force at both ends of the floor. Her combination of rebounding dominance, physical strength, and basketball IQ made her one of the best forwards in the country. She came into that 2023 season relentless and unafraid. In her first season at LSU, she delivered everything the program had asked for. She won the AP Player of the Year. She was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. She averaged over 23 points and 15 rebounds in the tournament. And on April 2nd, 2023, she was minutes away from a ring. These two players had never played each other before that championship game. They had watched each other from opposite ends of the bracket, building resumes for the collision that everyone in women's basketball knew was coming. Everything that followed was going to define both of their careers, and neither of them could have predicted how far outside basketball that definition would reach. Here is something almost everyone got wrong about the taunt. In the weeks before that championship game, during Iowa's run through the tournament, Caitlin Clark had used the exact same John Cena gesture, the "you can't see me" hand wave, directed at opponents. She taunted defenders. She directed it at the opposing bench. She received admiration for it. Sports media called it swagger. Fans called it confidence. Nobody trended classless about Caitlin Clark. Then Angel Reese did it at the biggest moment on the biggest stage of the entire college basketball season, and Classless trended for 3 days. The difference was not the gesture. The difference was not the score. The difference was not the moment. So, what was the difference? This is not a fringe observation. Researchers at Rice University analyzed approximately 700,000 tweets in the aftermath of that gesture, and according to that study, the reaction was racialized. The backlash against Reese was statistically distinct from the reception Clark had received for the same behavior. 2 players, 1 gesture, 2 completely different verdicts from the public. The question the study forces us to ask is the right one. Was the rage about sportsmanship, or was it about something that has nothing to do with basketball? Ask yourself honestly, would the reaction have been the same if the names and faces were switched? The numbers suggest it wouldn't have been. And while the internet argued about trash talk etiquette, Reese stood in the middle of the Caesars Superdome holding a trophy. In April 2024, both players entered the WNBA. Clark went to the Indiana Fever as the #1 overall pick. Angel Reese was selected 7th by the Chicago Sky. They were in the same conference. The first time their teams met, the arena sold out. Then the next time. Then every time. What was happening to women's basketball in 2024 was not subtle. It was an earthquake. The numbers are staggering. The 2024 WNBA All-Star Game drew 3.4 million viewers, the most in league history. Attendance across the league was up 48% from 2023. A total of 2.3 million fans came through WNBA turnstiles in 2024, the highest number in 22 years. Merchandise sales increased 236% year over year. Media called it the Clark effect. But here's the question nobody was asking in all the noise. Was it only a Clark effect? Because everywhere Clark went, the story followed. And part of that story was Angel Reese. The rivalry needed two people to exist. You don't get 3.4 million all-star viewers for one name alone. You get them for conflict, for the matchup, for the unresolved question from New Orleans. Both players were good for the league. Both players were good for each other's visibility. Whether they intended to or not, the tension between them became the product. Then came the high five moment. During a 2024 FIBA World Cup qualifier, cameras caught what appeared to be Clark walking past Reese's extended hand without acknowledging it. The clip spread instantly, and observers interpreted it as a deliberate snub. The internet had its story. There was just one problem. Reese herself said there was no ill will. She acknowledged it publicly. And later in that same game, the two exchanged high fives. If you watch the full footage rather than the 3-second clip that went viral, the read changes completely. This is what the internet does to two women competing in the same space. It hunts for the conflict. It needs the war to be real and personal, because a nuanced professional rivalry isn't as shareable as a feud. And yet the WNBA kept selling out. The cameras kept zooming in. Every game between the Fever and the Sky became a cultural event. May 17, 2025. The 2025 WNBA season opener, Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky. In the second quarter, on a fast break, Clark's arm makes contact with Reese. The referee assesses a flagrant 1 foul, citing windup, impact, and follow-through. Clark addressed it directly at the post-game press conference. "It was not malicious," she said. "I wasn't trying to hurt anyone." Both players handled it with composure. The league reviewed the play. The game moved on. But by then, the social media cycle had already declared war, again, before either athlete had spoken a word. The pattern by this point was clear. Two players compete. Something ambiguous happens. The internet interprets it as maximum conflict. Both players respond with more maturity than the audience demanded. Clark did not escalate. Reese did not escalate. And the league's viewership climbed anyway, because the narrative the internet had built didn't require either of them to participate. It ran on its own. The feud was real enough to the audience regardless of what either athlete actually said or did. So here is the honest answer to the question this story started with. Was the Clark-Reese rivalry real or media manufactured? It was both. The competitive tension between them was genuine. Two supremely talented players in the same conference with history going back to a taunt on the biggest stage in their sport. That was real. But the racial framing of every moment, the 3-second clips presented without context, the search for malice in every interaction, that was a construction. A narrative the media and the audience built together, and that the WNBA benefited from enormously. Who controlled it? Not Clark, not Reese. The league got the ratings, the media got the engagement, and two athletes who were simply competing became the symbols of a story that was always bigger than them. Women's basketball was at an inflection point in 2023. The game had been growing for years, quietly, steadily, without the media infrastructure it deserved. Clark and Reese arrived at the exact moment the infrastructure caught up. Streaming was everywhere. Social media could turn a 10-second clip into a global conversation. Brands were paying attention. And suddenly, two young women playing basketball in the United States were the most debated athletes on the internet on any given week. What happened over the next 2 years, the records, the sellouts, the culture shift, was not an accident. It was the result of talent meeting a moment. Clark and Reese didn't create the rivalry. They became its symbols. Whatever the relationship between them is in private, the public version served everyone: the league, the media, the fans, the sport itself. Here is what I believe deserves to be said at the end of all this. Both of these athletes are exceptional. Clark's scoring ability is historically rare. She changed what we thought was possible for a point guard in any league. Reese's competitive tenacity, her refusal to shrink, her presence on the glass and in the lane, those are elite qualities by any standard. They are not characters in a drama someone else wrote. They are real players who happen to arrive at the same moment in history, when women's basketball finally had the infrastructure, the attention, and the audience it always deserved. The rivalry gave the league a story. The players gave the league a future. Those are two different things, and only one of them matters long term. If you want to understand how we got here and where women's sports is headed next, click on the video on your screen right now. I've been covering this story from every angle, and the next one goes even deeper. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you there.